Hey everyone, Petra here at Being of the Earth. I wanted to share with you a little bit about an upcoming event that I'm hosting. It's called Tending to Our Tender Hearts, and it's an embodied listening circle. So I think most of us will acknowledge that these times that we're living through are pretty challenging, that there's a lot going on in the world that is really painful to witness, that's really devastating for many of us. And that impacts us in our bodies, in our hearts, in our minds. That impacts our nervous system, that we might feel overwhelmed by the onslaught of such horrific images and news, that we feel despair and hopelessness, that we feel, what can we do to respond to what we see happening in the world? And on top of that, many of us also have our own personal challenges in our lives, with our relationships, with our families, with work, with the pressure to make a living, all those things that come together, and all the personal variations that we have on those loss and grief and big challenges. So it can be pretty hard not to either go into overwhelm and anxiety and endless thinking through things, or to go to the opposite end of the spectrum and numb out and feel completely collapsed in oneself, to not feel anything much, or to use substances or Netflix or whatever it is that we do to take some of the pain away by distracting ourselves. So I want to invite you to a space that is really a circle to be with, to bring and to speak about some of the things that we're experiencing at this moment in time: the grief, the loss, the despair, the helplessness, the anger, anything that's present for you in response to your personal situation and the situation in the world is really welcome. And we do this in circle so that we have a feeling of being heard, of being seen, of being witnessed with whatever is going on inside of us, so that we have a sense of, oh, we're not really alone with this. There are many other people who also feel this way. And that in itself is really beautiful medicine, really like a soothing balm for our hearts. And then there's also something beautiful that happens when we are in a space where we can allow ourselves to share how we really are, when we take off all the masks of perfection, all the masks of we're coping, we're fine with how the world is, and really let ourselves speak from the heart. And sometimes we know very little about what might come out, and it's just really an invitation to speak from what emerges as you are in the space, and to be encouraged by others speaking. And this is not a space for fixing, it's not a space for advice giving, it's not a space to come and sort things out. It's a space to be with, to share, to be heard, to be received, to witness each other, and to acknowledge the pain and also the joy of being alive as a human being at this time. And in my experience from many groups, from many circles that I've been part of or that I've held with other people, there's something really magical that happens when we do this. There is a relief, and there is a sense of hope and connection, and a sense of the aliveness of a part of our hearts that comes through. You could say maybe a sense of staying connected to our humanity with everything else that's going on. So it's going to be a very simple structure, very easy to access for anyone who's interested. We're going to have a little bit of time at the beginning with a somatic practice, something that brings us into our bodies, that brings us into presence with ourselves and with each other, something that helps us create a safe space in which we feel able to share. And then there's going to be a structured time where everyone is invited to share, to listen, to witness. We're going to do this in a very structured way so that it feels safe, so that everyone has an equal opportunity to share from their heart how they are. And there will be some guidance around how we listen, how we receive what each one of us shares. And then we have a little closing time before we end this circle. There are two opportunities, one in the morning, one in the evening, South African time, so also around morning and evening European time. And hopefully whatever time zone you're in, one of those times will work for you. This first circle is pay what you can, so you're welcome to come and really choose what it is that works for you. I hope you will join us to experience this really beautiful way of creating community, community of care, community of heart, community of being alongside each other and journeying through these difficult times.